E.
We've got a baby on the live stream.
8 days old, baby. This baby is all about cybersecurity.
Viewers, take note here. This is history in the making. August 27th, 2021. We have the first baby cybersecurity expert. One of the few people in America whose information is not yet on the dark web that we know about. Could be, honestly, the way things are going. But wow. Welcome everyone to another episode of Coffee Chat Live, your weekly 15-minute show, the anti-webinar show, where we have a very loose format and we don't go on for an hour and we don't pull up slide decks. So welcome and thanks for joining. So today we got a couple things to cover, or at least some loose talking points. The beginning of which is next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, myself and the Scout Barracuda team will be at Build It in Jersey City. I'm very, very excited because it is one of the few events that I can simply take an Uber to instead of getting on an airplane. So normally I have to take an Uber to JFK or to Newark, which is actually farther than this event. So I'm going on a 3-day event, which is just a mile and a half from my apartment, even though it's probably going to be 10 miles to get there because I have to go over bridges. But there's still time to sign up. Scout 249 is a discount code. So if you're interested in going, just talk to me and we can get you in there, help you get that discount. But yeah, how's everyone doing? I'm seeing some great faces on here. David, how are you? How's the new fatherhood? We're following your saga on Coffee Chat Live.
Yes, we are following the Petty Household saga. Thank you for the warm wishes. Obviously, James is all set. Yeah, we're good. We're doing good. We're live and vertical, a little bit of sleep deprived, but that's why we have the coffee chats, right?
There you go. And Matthew, how are you? How are you doing?
It's good, man. It's been a busy week. Actually, you and I have been going back and forth a lot in the past week. We've got some new business happening. We're finally getting through the planning stages of rebuilding our website, which is exciting. And we're going to kind of use the whole thing as a case study for Copy Reboot Delete. So it's getting scrutinized every which way and documented so that we could use it to help other people as well. And yeah, man, today's an iced coffee day. Can't do the hot coffee. It's iced coffee and it's decaf, so I don't bounce off the walls.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about Copy Reboot Delete and what it is and why we spend so much time talking in there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the first reason we spend so much time talking is because it's fun, right? I mean, it's really enjoyable conversation. Copy Reboot Delete is a community that is in a early growth stage. It's something that we're allowing to grow organically. It's not about Jonathan Crow from Ninja RMM, my partner on it, and I kind of dictating what we think is necessary. It's really talking with MSP owners and marketers and folks at vendors such as yourself, talking it up with Dave. I know we got September 1st on the calendar. Okay, I'm excited for that. And figuring out what it is that keeps them up at night. What are the challenges that you face? What are the problems that you see as being hurdles that maybe you have not been able to get past on your own? Let's take our experience, let's collaborate, let's learn from each other and make everything a little bit better. So yeah, right now we've got our Slack instance. We got a handful of people in there, different owners, different vendors. And in October, our site will be launched. We've got a huge schedule of events and other content creation activities going on. And, it's fun. It's a lot of work to do in the middle of a 9 to 5 at a growing MSP, but it's worth it. And I can't wait to actually be able to give people a little bit more tangible information in the coming weeks. So stay tuned.
That's great. It's actually yesterday, someone posted on Reddit and was literally like, what's going on at Scout? Jimmy, or their guy who's always on Reddit hasn't been posting on Reddit lately. I'm nervous. And I was like, this is a real post on Reddit. I was like, oh my God. I realized one of the reasons, one is going on, Fish was playing, so that, had affected some of my time. So,
Yeah.
but the other one is I've been spending so much time in CRG in the Slack channel. So like a lot of my MSP community time has shifted from Reddit over there.
I gotta tell you, I love it because it almost feels like you had a Brendan Fraser moment where you're like, oh my God, they're concerned. Like you had that moment recently where he's been in all these movies and it's like, Encino Man, this and that, disappearance for all this time. And he's back. He's like, I'm doing work with Scorsese. I'm doing this and that. And it's great. That was it. That was your moment, man. And you're like, oh, they miss me. They need me here.
You did Brendan Fraser proud, man.
I couldn't believe it. I look on Reddit. I was like, really? Like you don't post for like a week and then, suddenly there's this like GME style subreddit, like conspiracy going around that,
It's not Scout. It's Scout.
Yeah. But I'm happy today. So Daniel Park on the line. Daniel has been a staple of Coffee Chat Live and a cornerstone of Scout's marketing for the little over a year now. Daniel's been with us, and so Daniel had prepared a whole thing to talk about, and I decided to throw it out about 5 minutes before we started and focus on him instead. So Daniel, I wanted to just can you talk a little bit about some of the reoccurring things you've been going, like the sales and marketing tips? I think you've done such a great job with it over the past year. You've released a new template or tool every single week. And to be totally honest, Daniel has really owned this thing, really ran with it, pushing things forward, innovating. So you can talk about what's that like, just if somebody's trying to get something like that going themselves, how do you get started? How do you come up with new ideas? What's it been like for the past year or since January when you started that specific?
Absolutely. So for anyone who hasn't met me, which is understandable, hello everyone. I'm Daniel Park. I hold the world record for least amount of words spoken on Coffee Chat Live in its whole tenure. No, but you might also know me as the author of Scout's MSP Sales and Marketing Toolkit. And a lot of the process, Jimmy, that goes into sort of creating these things is they go out every Wednesday. And generally after that Wednesday, I just sit back for a couple hours and just give myself a second to breathe. But the minute Thursday morning rolls around, I'm generally scrolling through LinkedIn or going through growth blogs like Ninja RM's blog and MSP growth hacks have been huge inspirations for me, and just going through and just seeing what MSPs need marketing wise and just sort of trying to create tools that sort of meet those needs. Now, normally I do have mainstays that I sort of always go back to. I release a social media template pack every month and a sales email template pack every month so that the partners that rely on these resources have refreshed messaging that they can go back to each month and, edit for their own use. But the other 2 weeks, generally, I try to think of something new or sort of outside of the box that the other blogs might not be providing. And a lot of that is just, keeping an eye out, going through LinkedIn, seeing what even other industries are doing for their marketing initiatives and just trying to adapt it. But the most important thing is really just sort of keeping the needs of the MSP community in mind, because they're such a unique community and how they, support each other that it requires a very unique approach to things.
So it's sort of like a South Park type thing where it's, 1 week turnaround, coming up with it. Maybe you have a general idea of what an episode is, but get it going.
Exactly. I hope I have a bit more of a plan than South Park, because you'll see this off screen. I have a notebook where I keep 4 weeks of toolkits ahead of time, or 4 weeks worth of toolkits ideas ahead of time in case, I ever hit writer's block. But you could say that I am very much like South Park, except South Park probably gets more breaks than I do.
Something else that I think has been a key to success here is sort of looking past just our industry, like the MSP and MSP vendors and partner world. Can you talk a little bit about some of the Fortune 500 companies or high growth startups that you've taken inspiration from?
Absolutely. So I'd say that a lot of my inspiration, it will depend generally on where it's coming from. But I'll say with sales emails templates, for example, a lot of my inspiration comes from Gong. They recently got recognized as a major sort of Inc. 500 a company. And they have all these analytics about, words that sell or different tactics that you can take advantage of. Yes, Matt Fox is also an inspiration.
Wait,
I
what
can't
was
wait
that?
to see.
Huh? Oh, me?
David.
No.
Yeah, David.
No, another
Getty,
Matt Fox.
was
Look,
talking about how you're such an inspiration.
Since my name was mentioned, I just want to jump in and say what you're doing is awesome because you're helping everyone break out of the MSP echo chamber. There's too much of company A doing what company B is doing, and you're helping prevent that type of activity. So that's awesome.
Your stuff off the top. Keep that up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. No, I don't really have much of a technical background. Jimmy will tell you, I was an English major with no experience when I joined Scout. So you guys have taught me so much, and it's really just been trying to balance sort of all the knowledge that you guys have accumulated over the many years that the MSP community has been active, and just sort of trying to throw my own spin into it. But you guys are an inspiration, and I can't wait to see Copy, Reboot, Delete when it goes public with its website. So,
I have to laugh because when I was interviewing Daniel for the job, part of the interview process was actually I took real posts on Reddit that people had sent Scout, like, oh, you guys know how Reddit works. It's like, oh, well, this is clearly the worst product in the world, and never, whatever. People just say ridiculous things, and you have to come up with really long, like, it's very difficult writing tasks to be able to respond to that and explain things in a succinct way. And so part of Daniel's interview process was coming up with responses, and it was just like, look at my comment history, see how I've done it, see if you can, sort of do something similar. And he nailed it, and has nailed a lot of other stuff like that before, and gotten, really in the weeds of product marketing without a technical background. But Daniel, we only have a couple minutes left. Why don't you show people who might be watching what some of this stuff actually looks like?
absolutely. So let me just share my screen really quick.
Jimmy gave you the rights to flex on him, Daniel. Hit it, baby. Yeah.
So I'll just give you like a quick rundown. Basically, every week you'll get an email in your inbox if you signed up. That is the Scout MSP Sales and Marketing Toolkit. You get a step-by-step content guide, generally just 3 easy steps to whatever we're doing. In the past month, we've done growing your social media following for your MSP from scratch. We did a 2-parter, which recently got posted on the Scout website. Let me just move this control bar down here so that I can control it. This was a 2-week sort of 2-parter about assembling a go-to-market strategy for MSP. So if you're bringing a new security service online, or even just a general sort of MSP service, you can. These are all the questions that you would need to answer before you started working on your launch. And what I generally do is I'll take these tips and these questions, and I'll turn them into planning worksheets and tools so that you can use, so that you can fill out different pain points that your decision makers are dealing with, how your MSP is solving it. And by using this, you can create messaging that you can turn into, sales emails and marketing tips, and even talk tracks for, phone calls. So for the past month, we've also got the sales emails, and this week's toolkit was based around, hybrid work fatigue. The pandemic has been going on for too long to remember now.
Like year 7.
So, yeah. But this whole toolkit is basically based around, keeping your team's morale up, whether, they're working in IT or if you're the sole salesperson on the team. So that's pretty much all that we've done for August. And I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing what comes out in September.
I gotta tell you, I'm really looking forward to seeing more from you because what you put together here is so incredibly valuable. If you could just go back to the GTM strategy doc that you had up, I go to a lot of vendor events and I look at what a lot of people are doing, and there is a terrible tendency for a go-to-market strategy to become a sales call. And what you're putting in here is more valuable than an hour webinar for most others, because you're giving someone an actual plan that's actionable. You're not giving me a reason to spend more money from my budget for another service or anything else. You're giving me exactly what I need to accomplish a goal. So that's fantastic.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, because I do try to, I think the whole sort of thesis around Toolkit is sort of emphasizing communication with like other team members. Like even the most recent one about hybrid work fatigue. I think the very first tip was, don't dive straight into pipeline with anything that you do. Like, take the time to sit down with your team and talk about what's working, what isn't, and just sort of going from there. And I think that if those tips are followed, you'll find that things will go a lot smoother, hopefully, and remove a lot of the friction. So
You're giving a very clear path to the achievement of a goal, and that's what people need.
I'm loving this conversation, and unfortunately, we're hitting our time limit. But one thing I will say before we end this here is the use of like cornerstone content and sub content from it. So remember, Daniel's doing one toolkit every week, and it starts with a blog post. The blog post also turns into an email, and then attached from that also is a template. And then he has social posts on all the different platforms about each one. So he can have one, guiding piece of content that creates 10 and 20 and 30 when you chop up all the clips and little pieces of it downstream. So I think it's, Matt, we always talk about that, like using a framework, and, CRD's going to be released.
Jimmy, you posted that on LinkedIn too.
Yep.
The framework where it's your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I saw that yesterday or 2 days ago. It's super rudimentary, but very simple and easy to understand.
And Daniel may or may not have an entire book that is in editing phase right now.
Not surprised.
Just
I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. Thank you all. 2 minutes over, breaking rules here, but that's what we do. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, to our guests who hopped on, and Daniel, thanks for letting us grill you about your work today. It was fun to really dive into it.
My pleasure.
Take it easy, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great week.